Hello friends, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. And today I have come for a very important topic. So yes, let's without any further delay begin. So today's topic is all about writing your resume and cover letter. So for the past few videos, we have been talking about how to search a job, where to apply, what would be the types of the organizations that you would look for. But the first thing that comes to the mind is about finding the right balance when you're writing a CV, right? So what kind of CV we would write? What is the ways that a CV is kind of presented to the UK based employers, and it's not the same as we know back in our home country. Say for example, if I talk about India or maybe some other countries where you are from, right? So it follows a very specific format, and there are specific approach to writing a CV. The number one thing that I would say is not to really write stories in your CV, right? So that's the number one point. Number two is about the components of the CV. So usually a CV will have like 5 different sections. Depending on the industry, there might be 1 or 2 additional sections that you might have, right? So number 1 would be your professional summary. So this is the piece where you might have 2 or 3 sentences, not more than that, where you want to address that why you are looking for a job, what is your expectations, and what you bring on the table. So these 2 or 3 sentences will basically mean that the recruiter wants to read more about what you bring onto the table, right? So this is the content to get hooked to your profile. The second section is about the core skills. Like if somebody is from IT, somebody is applying for, say, a data analyst role, what sort of skills that they would have? Most probably you may say like SQL, you can say visualization, and then maybe Oracle, and so on and so forth, right? Somebody from a healthcare background will be giving like in terms of like what sort of like different medical conditions they have worked on, what type of emergencies they have attended, and so on and so forth. So that becomes like section 2. Section 3 would be the actual experience, like your entire experience summarized into bullet points, and please make sure that you quantify your experience into actionable highlights, right? So rather than say, for example, if you're using words like strategize, I have planned, let's move into more actionable words like I have completed, I have achieved, I have assisted. These kind of words will give like emphasis of what you did. And please do not mention the word like we or in a team. So because the recruiter is not really looking into what you within the team have done, but explicitly what you have done to help the work, to help the team, and to create the impact, right? And anywhere that we we should be able to quantify, just not giving like statements that I have achieved or I have completed a project. Let's try to become more explicit around like what exactly we have achieved or what exactly we have done in a project, right? Say I have completed like 3 modules, development of 3 modules, or maybe like I have attended like 3 specific emergency departments and assisted doctors if this is like a healthcare role, or as a manager I have foreseen like 5 different projects over like 3 different teams. So these examples with the explicit specifics will give more focus on what you have done and not really make things generic, right? Number 4 is about your educational background, like what you have done, in terms of your degree or your qualification. So that would be the fourth section. And fifth and the last section you can have is about your certifications, credentials, anything which is related to your job or the role you are applying. So that is pretty much the 5 sections. It should not be more than, say, 2 pages. Anything more, the recruiters basically lose interest. I am talking from my own experience because I have been an interviewer and I have interviewed almost hundreds of candidates, specifically in my field. So I understand that what the recruiters would be going through trying to skim like almost 200, 300 resumes for a single job, right? So please be precise, but please be impactful in your resume. Now, coming to the format, most probably I would say the best format for a resume is the Word document format. Why I say so, we will come to this later, but please keep in mind to create like a Word document format, not a PDF, not any flashy images and all of that. So let's keep it sweet and simple, a Word document, right? Now, coming to your structure of the resume, we will try to make it as simplified as possible. So as I mentioned, do not really try to kind of insert pictures of like your certifications or anything else that might be really something that you are tempting, but please do not do that. In terms of like columns, don't put columns. Sometimes these do not get processed properly. And in terms of like the font, use the standard font. Say for example, you can use Arial or you can use Calibri and sans serif. So all of these common fonts which are like acceptable by all of the systems if there is a system to process your application. Now let's talk a bit more about like how we need to build the resume, right? And for this I need to give an insight about ATS. What is ATS? ATS is applicant tracking system. Now most of the organizations does have an ATS which kind of does the initial filtering of the resumes whenever there is a job role. Now a specific job role will have certain requirements or qualifications that is needed to be performed in the job, right? So what ATS does is there are rules which mostly is based on keywords within a resume. It filters and gives a score to a specific resume. Say for example, if a certain job needs like a high degree of communication skill, it will try to find or search keywords which is related to communication. You can have like communicate, you can have effective communicator, all sorts of these synonyms will be kind of caught by the system and it will create a score based on that particular attribute. And then all different jobs will have these rules specified by the hiring manager. So now once the system is able to track and identify that how much those attributes match with a particular CV or resume that it gets uploaded into the system. Now the highest matches will be considered for the next round, obviously, and anything which is below the threshold as defined by the managers or the HR managers, all those will get rejected. So now the key to it is like there definitely will be a job description. So understanding, reading the job description very carefully and thoughtfully is the number one key to kind of first trying to convert your resume to a format which is acceptable by the ATS, right? Now for all of the job roles, even though they might be similar, you might have to create different CVs. Like I had to create almost 10 to 12 different CVs even for the same job roles, because there were certain small differences between each of the job roles and you don't want to miss out on those different attributes. Now coming back to the CV once again, although we have like created all of these different things, there might be scenarios when your resume or CV might get rejected, but we have to follow this approach, right? So that's the last thing that now the last part of this video is about building a cover letter. Now a lot of us are not into the habit of creating cover letters. At least I didn't really create one when I was back in India. So but this is very important here in the UK. Now, in terms of like a cover letter, what are the different components that you should keep and think before you write one?
Okay, so as you see here, we have displayed one of the cover letters that I created for one of my job applications. So we have to apply as per the jobs and focus on the skills that is needed for the job, as I have focused here on, say, data analysis, process modeling, user acceptance testing in bold that you see here, right? I've also given like a quick summary of my qualification and certifications, and for a request for the next round of discussions. So that's pretty much about the cover letter.
Coming back to the last tip, I would say, like, please continue applying for the different jobs. Please apply for different roles, create different CVs, and do not lose hope. You are just one interview away from your dream job. Thank you all, and I will see you in the next video. Till then, bye, take care, tata.